what's up?
Orny, Howie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just waiting for a signal from you. You did my podcast, and I wanted to know. You said you'd let me know when you wanted it up. I just want to.
I thought you were going to put it up already.
I've been waiting for you.
I thought you hated the episode, so you didn't put it up.
I thought you were mad at me.
No, I thought you were mad at me.
I thought you were mad at me. I'm serious.
No fucking way. I love the episode.
Okay, I'm gonna roll it now.
Okay.
Welcome to Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel. This is
Jacqueline Schultz.
my daughter
It's amazing
that I procreated.
that this is the first time you've ever mentioned that you have a daughter to me.
You didn't know I had a daughter?
No, but I was waiting for you to tell me you had a daughter.
You've been waiting? That's what you've been waiting
Yes.
for?
Yes,
Weren't you at the Super Bowl party?
I was.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
We met.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's the second time.
Yeah.
But you just met and you didn't know that was my daughter?
No, I don't know what. I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was. feeling.
Orny Adams. Orny Adams is our guest today. The amazingly funny, witty star of Teen Wolf, stand-up. Teen Wolf was probably what most young people know you from.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. It's the one thing I've done.
No, you've done other things.
Not really. Not really. Like outside of comedy, that's the one thing.
You're
It's-
comedy and you're a ranter. You're a really good ranter.
I guess. I mean, we should all be ranting. There's a lot of stuff that we should be upset about.
What's bothering you right now?
Do you want to guess what I had for dinner last night?
Do I want to
Yeah.
guess? It seems like wouldn't be a fun game, but protein?
No,
No, steak.
I had corn on the cob for dinner.
Okay.
That was it.
Uh-huh.
That
Okay.
was it. And I was thinking, like, it was almost dinner time.
Mhm.
I live alone. I'm single, and I thought, what
old
should
are
I
you?
have for dinner?
How old are you?
51.
51 and single.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did it. I did it. I am a role model for anybody that wants to survive in this lifetime with a little bit of sanity and everything that you've made or whatever.
And you think you're really selling your lifestyle?
I think I am.
Alone with corn.
He's got a corn on the cob.
Well, let me explain why.
Okay, go ahead.
So a neighbor I live in a beautiful neighborhood where people come by, they have offerings. They drop stuff
Corn?
off. Corn.
You live on a farm?
No, his in-laws live near Sequoia National Park, and they're farmers, and they had all this extra corn, and he gave me a bag of corn on the cob, and I thought I should have this for dinner. Now, is this a sign of growing old? Is it like if you were a kid and your parents said, we're having corn on the cob for dinner, you'd say that's a side dish.
But no, wait. It's similar to like a stuffed baked potato. That's a meal.
No, because it's stuffed with, sometimes there's meat in there, chicken,
Well, what did you put on your corn?
butter, and salt. That's it. I boiled it and ate 4 years of corn
So
for dinner. So is this, Howie, I'm asking you, is this old age that I accept this?
I can't. The only thing that's going through my mind is all the kernels you're going to find in your shit today.
I doesn't even occur to you. Last night, you're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about last night. That's it. That's it.
With seeing the kernels.
No, I wasn't thinking that forward. I was thinking I've got to get through dinner.
do you want a
And-
tidbit of information about kernels of corn in your poop?
I guess.
Yeah.
My
So
daughter is
you
so
know-
informed. Go ahead.
you know how it looks like full undigested kernels of corn when you poop it out?
Yes.
It's actually just the skin. Hold on. My brother Alex told me this, so it might be a lie. But it's actually just the skin that's not digested. And the reason why it looks full is because it's your poop that stuffed it and full inside.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
A lot more than I needed to know. But
The more
Is
you
that
know.
true?
I don't know. That's what she's been told. Okay, so you had corn last night.
yeah.
That's it. That's
Well,
the
I
whole
think
story.
I think it's interesting because as a kid, I would never. Corn was a crappy side dish.
So you're fascinated by the fact that you can do whatever you want.
No, I'm fascinated by the fact that I've come at this point in my life to accept that corn on the cob could be a meal. That as a child, if your parents said we're having pickup, You were shocked.
Wow, what a rebel.
You couldn't believe
Are you
it.
single? Are you single?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like a date. I know you're not married, but
I think
are-
everybody dates now. There's a lot of dating. That
So do
goes
you
on.
feel by telling these stories publicly that this is going to attract a female to you?
I don't-
would love to have corn with you. Like,
Howie, I have never in my life ever thought I'm going to tell stories that's going to help me get laid. I've never thought I'm going to tell stories or routines so it advances my career. I'm not.
that's not true.
That is true.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true. I am not calculating at all.
Well, I think that I'll digress for just a second. So I came to know you in 2002. And for those that aren't aware, you became kind of notorious on The Comedian, which is a documentary by it was produced by Seinfeld, right?
Mhm.
By Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
So wasn't the whole thing that you were overly calculating?
Don't you? Was I overly calculating? No. I always wanted to advance my career. I always wanted more. I still want more. What I'm saying is, I don't sit there if my team said, you should do jokes about this right now because this is what's trendy, or maybe you shouldn't yell as much on stage, or I don't make those sort of switches. I do what I want to do. And wherever
With
it goes,
the
it goes.
intent of advancing, which I think you're amazing. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go, and I don't know if it's something you want to talk about, but I feel that you are. I respect you, and I respect you because you kind of blaze your own trail and have reinvented yourself more than a couple of times. I think.
Mhm.
Do you not think that is that a good description of what you were doing? Because how do you feel? How do you feel about The Comedian?
How would you say I reinvented myself?
Can I be totally honest? And if you want me to cut this out, I'll cut this out.
No.
I feel that no.
No. Don't cut anything out.
Okay.
Ever.
In The Comedian, it was following a young comedian's path to the next level, right? And you were chosen as the next comedian. Everybody was in that movie, Seinfeld and Cosby and everybody was in
Right.
there. And through
And we're still talking about me. Cosby was in the documentary. Cosby's in jail. And I'm still the most controversial part of that documentary. That documentary was executive produced by Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
And let's still talk about me. Let's talk about reinvention. You want to talk about reinvention? Bill Cosby has reinvented himself, that's for sure. Harvey Weinstein's reinvented himself, that's for sure. I'll say it. You can say whatever you want about me and the choices I've made in my life, whether I want to eat corn on the cob for dinner. But I'll tell you something. I'm not sitting in a jail
Brilliant.
cell right now, am I?
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I've never heard that take on it. But the truth was that it was, for all intents and purposes, the debacle of some opportunities, right? Is that not what the storyline was? In the comedy community, I'm just saying, we used to say, did you see that documentary with Orny Adams? I mean, like he had Jerry Seinfeld's manager who had just recently passed away, George. And he had these opportunities to do the Tonight Show, to do JFL and things like that. And we watched you kind of in that moment self-destruct. No?
I wouldn't say self-destruct.
Well, you're here today, so you didn't destruct.
I would say it's more, they followed me. The spotlight was on me. Maybe I didn't handle it correctly. I wouldn't handle it like that today. I think when I had to perform at JFL, I didn't do as well as I could have done.
Right.
I take responsibility for everything I said in that documentary. I said that. It's not a hologram. I was there. I said that.
Right.
But it was, you can take things, show business, and you can position them. You cannot include everything. You can sort of like, okay, if you quote Shakespeare,
right,
and you say, you know what my favorite Shakespeare quote is?
Go ahead.
Not to be. Not to be.
To be or not to be.
No. That wasn't in the documentary, to be or not to be. Not to be. Meaning you can take things out of context, you can take half of it, and you can show it. And I think that that's part of this story, which is now coming to light. People are starting to sort of realize what might have really taken place. In fact, I've reached out to that documentary, the crew, the producers of it, and have asked them for actual footage of moments.
So it was well, this is the first time hearing this. So you believed, I mean, it is. You're telling me that we did not, that was constructed or reconstructed in editing to seem like what was happening was not happening?
No, I'm saying you can tell a story. You can juxtapose, you can position people to look any way you want them to look. I don't know, because I'm very close to this, but I believe I was put in that to tell a story, a counter story to Jerry Seinfeld, who executive produced
What is your relationship with Jerry?
a documentary that he's in.
What is your relationship now with Jerry?
Zero. I've none.
Is there animosity?
No.
Was there?
No, I think so. I think the animosity came from me expecting him to do more for me and help me and give me a lifeline. Because when that came out, you know, I was 28 years old when we started filming that, and I was unaware of show business. I just couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that I was being paid, you know, after a SAG scale to shoot this thing every day. It was an enormous amount of money to stay in New York and shoot this thing. And I was chosen. I never thought that it would do anything but good for me. And then George came on board. And
George Shapiro,
right,
who is the manager, the executive producer of Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah.
You know, and he managed a lot of big names.
Right.
Shapiro West.
And, you know, in regards to Seinfeld, you know, when not my last special, the one before that, Takes
Right.
the Third, came out.
Right.
He called me, and he was so supportive. He's always been very, very supportive of my comedy to me.
Right.
To me. And I asked him, could you go out there? Could you tell the people? Could you help me? You know, like, Howie, I couldn't, when that came out, I couldn't get work.
What?
I was in trouble. There are places, the Punchline in San Francisco still will not book me based on that.
Based on that.
And I work all over the world. And and I've worked with you. I've worked with you on developing. I've worked with you doing stand-up.
And I will continue to work with you. But was the intent, and I'm talking about a documentary that maybe a lot of young people haven't seen. You didn't see it, right?
No.
But I thought that they decided to, or Seinfeld decided that you were the next big thing, and the way it turned out was happenstance. Like, I thought that the fact that he did the documentary on you was incredibly supportive. No?
I do believe before it went to Miramax, there was another version that was kinder to me. It showed me getting a development deal with Warner Brothers. It showed me packing up and moving to Los Angeles, and there were more clips of my stand-up comedy, and there was more balance. And then when it went to Miramax, I felt sort of vilified. Like, I feel like they spun it differently. And I think he was supportive. I do, because we would watch it together. And he'd go, "That's me. That I used to say the exact same thing, but I was smart enough not to say it on camera." And one time he flew me to New York to show me a cut of it, and took me out in the streets, and he showed me, "I'm going to show you how to be famous, how to sign autographs. This is going to make you huge." And I do believe he felt that. I do. And I think...
And you saw it too before it was released.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not smart enough to understand Hollywood. I'm not. You understand it.
I'm always baffled. I still get baffled. I will post something, and I'll be vilified for a moment, and I go, what is wrong with this? Or
But you
we
don't
talk about this all the time.
You don't feel like you play can we call it a game? You don't play the game well?
I think the game is life. You know, you never know, and I think we live in a world right now. Me and Jackie always talk about it, where perception outweighs what is the word that I'm looking for?
Reality.
Yeah, context. You know, if you take something out of context, as you said with Shakespeare, you know, then, or not to be is the thing. And I find that all of us,
and intent doesn't really matter nowadays either.
So tell me how
I think when
you saw the final cut.
Absolutely. And I think I was happy with it. I think because I understood my personality. I understood the character I was doing on that documentary. It's the same character I do on Teen Wolf, which is a massive the show's a hit and the character is a massive hit, which I think is.
What's your character name on there?
I'm Coach Finstock. But I think, and we just shot a movie.
Right.
We just shot a movie this summer that's coming out in a month, and I think that the writing, again, I'm going to blame the producers on both. My character in Teen Wolf works so well because of the writing and the producing and the way they put me within the show. That's it. And I feel like I was leaning on Jerry to help me. Could you give me that life? I was dependent on.
But can I just say something?
Yeah.
This is the first time hearing about this. You saw the final cut.
Mhm.
Maybe he was, well, I think just the fact that he chose you as the element for the comedian. You are the comedian. And you had all this high power behind you, and you saw you were speaking out loud. I don't think the Miramax, George, would know how it was going to be taken. In fact, you even looked at yourself and didn't know how it was going to be taken. The fact that it was maybe taken out of context or misinterpreted or is no one's fault, right?
Oh, I don't think.
Do you believe, from what I'm hearing, is you don't know Hollywood. You weren't doing anything for Hollywood, but you were counting on people that do perhaps know Hollywood and how it may be perceived to kind of give you a lifeline and make sure that it wasn't perceived a certain way or affect you negatively.
No. You can't. Public perception is public perception. I accept that. I accept I'm in this documentary. I do not believe I was put in this documentary to be destroyed. Some people do feel that. What I was asking from Jerry at the time was, hey, you say all these things about me and my comedy privately. Could you go out? Could you support me? And I think that sort of was off-putting to him, which I can understand at this point. I wouldn't ask at this point. And I don't think there's any bitter. I mean, the phone could ring right now, and it could be him. I mean,
do you feel there's any upside to have done that?
Listen, let's get back to your perception of me, because
my perception of you
is tell me.
I think you're a really funny, talented man who has, this journey that we continue to have in life and in our careers and in Hollywood is it's not a smooth path. And sometimes those dips are incredibly public. Sometimes they're private. Sometimes they're in our personal lives. Sometimes, a wall will go up just creatively for no other reason that, it's a mental block. You happen to open the door to a particularly vulnerable time in one's career. And it's not all fun and games, and it's not all bright and cheery, and it's not all, and everybody has inner thoughts, and we say things to family members, we say things to agents, we say things to producers, we say things to coworkers. If you make the choice to allow a documentary team in there, I mean, you've kind of signed off on that. I kind of, when I first watched it, and I watched it when it came out, it was amazing. It was amazing. And it was amazing to, I think a lot of people don't rise to I think everybody's where they need to be, or we are, we can look at other people and go, why did he or she get this? And why didn't I get this? And I think that we are the result of our own actions. And all of us make bad decisions and say bad things. And, I think that's what this was. So I think you made some bad decisions. And so did I. I don't think you made any worse decisions than I've ever made. I don't think you've said anything that I haven't said. I've been lucky enough that it hasn't been publicly displayed. And even today, I just told you, even in the last little while, because I work for the man, I'm on broadcast television and stuff. And I'm also pretty, active on many different platforms as far as digital, and I'll post something that I think is funny and get hardly slammed for it and lose opportunities for it.
something digital that you post. Like what? Give me an
Absolutely.
example.
Well, I don't want to repeat it because I don't want to lose him again. But I will say, like the equivalent of Gilbert Gottfried. That's his. He was a really good friend of mine. That's his act right there. His wife sent me his act. That's what he. That's his set list right before he goes on. Gilbert Gottfried did an inappropriate joke about the tsunami and lost the whole Affleck thing.
Right.
I've done things like that which I'm playing I'm playing it like close to me right now. I could tell you things, I could repeat things, and I could lose things right now. I didn't know that, 5 years ago, that doing that or saying that.
Are these things you were saying currently, or are these things from your past that surfaced?
No, even currently, I'm always treading that.
Yeah.
And then when you say things like you say, maybe in the name of humor, it could be perceived as, politically incorrect.
Right.
And then people can feel like that political incorrectness is how you feel and who you are, and it's not.
But the responsibility of comedy and comedians is to push those boundaries and to create uncomfortableness. That is the duty of the comedian, and to get people thinking.
Here's another thing. We're in another ad now. Can I talk about Masterworks for a second?
You can.
Okay, you know what Masterworks is?
Yes.
So it takes real pieces of art, which have incredible value. And the average person, including myself, who's watching and listening to this podcast, can't afford, to invest in a Picasso or a great piece of art until now. Because Masterworks will take great pieces of art and split them into little pieces of ownership. So when you make that investment, it is a safer, more interesting investment than just going to the stock market or crypto or any of those. This is a good investment, right?
Yeah, you can invest in fine art, like you said, and the art is worth millions. And it's not NFTs, like you just said. It's Picasso's, Monet's, Banksy. So in fact, they just sold another painting. Just a few weeks ago in early November, Masterworks sold a painting for 17.8% net return. They've sold one just while they've been a sponsor. So how's that for results?
For what?
Results.
Results?
Results. Am I
It's
saying that
results.
right?
It's results.
Results.
It's not results.
It's results.
No.
That brings Masterworks' last 3 sales to 17, 21, and 33% net returns.
How's that for results?
It's results. Paintings have even sold out in minutes on Masterworks, so you can skip their waitlist today when you sign up with our special link, masterworks.art/Howie. That's masterworks.art/Howie to skip their waitlist. See important regulations, aid disclosures at masterworks.com/CD.
Good results.
You'll get results.
Go ahead.
There's a difference, though, between, you're treading a line between comedian. You're not just straight comedian, because you're also on network television, which has a ton of sponsors. So therefore, you have to be a little bit cleaner and can't really push the boundaries as much as you can if you are just a comedian.
That's right.
Do you find about being just being on Teen Wolf?
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's put added pressure on you.
Absolutely.
Right. You have to make that decision. I was talking to Neil Brennan the other day, and I was saying that these guys and women out there, I was saying it's a scarier place. He goes, no, it's a freer place. But it shifted. I said these guys are on an island, and I realized that people like you and me are on the island. Network TV and broadcast is an island. And then there are these people that don't give a shit, don't need it, who have these podcasts that are controversial, who are selling out stadiums and arenas 3 times. They don't have to answer to anybody.
It's beautiful.
But to that end, they're also getting an incredible amount of blowback, which I don't know that I could handle, whether that be on social media or whatever, just to hear the vitriol of.
Yeah, I couldn't.
No, I couldn't.
I'm not controversial for that reason.
Would it affect you? Comments and other people's opinions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. And I do like being misunderstood to an extent. So if you go on my social media, I make these videos making fun of rugby, because the game makes no sense to me at all. And they get millions of views.
Right.
And half of the community loves them. They get written up in rugby magazines. But then they're the hardcore people that just the vitriol. It's amazing. I love poking that bear.
So that doesn't bother you?
No, because I'm doing that on purpose. And they're not attacking, they're not attacking me for something that I feel like, with my stand-up, I feel like I'm really trying. With that, I don't mind being attacked for something like that. That to me is funny, and I'm attacking their sport. So bring it on. Bring it on.
So what
So
bothers
what's the
you?
line that you won't cross?
I just I don't talk about my personal life that much. I'm very closed. I'm not as open as those people that are doing it, and they're very successful. But to me, it feels like you're selling a part of yourself, and that's not for me.
Yeah, but it's also,
And I admire them for that openness. I can't do it.
It's not only openness. Listen, if you want to climb Mount Everest, you're going to get an amazing view. You will get some notoriety, but it'll be harder to breathe.
There's no oxygen.
That's my point.
Right.
So when you travel, when you push the boundaries, like people like Chappelle and many others and Bill Burr, but they don't mind that. They don't mind living in that thin air.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're way up there, and they're higher than any of us because they don't mind traversing through a place that has less, it's harder to breathe, and that's hard for me.
Yeah, I get to the top of Mount Everest. I take a picture and I get down. It's one of the reasons I'm not signing up for this trip to Mars. There's no oxygen up there. So why would I go to Mars?
You don't do anything adventuresome?
I don't go to Mars. Have you been to Mars?
No, but I don't eat corn alone.
He doesn't get married. That's adventuresome.
Here's the problem.
Have you been close to marriage?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in love many times. The thing with Mars, and I do want to get back to two other things, but the thing with Mars is, which nobody's calculating, is it's all of us going up there. It's all the same people. We're going to have the same problems up on. All the assholes here are coming with, all the people here that think the earth is flat, they're coming with us. They're going to be on Mars
Jeremy
going.
Thinks the earth is flat.
Yeah, he'll be up there going, you know what? Mars is flat too.
I like Jeremy.
We love Jeremy, but he is. There's no way to convince him.
Which one's Jeremy?
Do
you really think the Earth is flat?
I don't believe in conspiracies now.
Have you seen?
What?
Wait, Jeremy.
Have you seen aerial photography of the Earth?
Yeah, it's flat.
Why is this guy working for you? Is this?
You know what? He's
actually
absolutely brilliant. He edits everything you see on this podcast.
Yeah.
He's really funny. He's really witty. I'm fascinated by the fact when people hold this kind of information, but he's not joking.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say anything, Jeremy. I respect your view, because if there's
Do you respect his view?
Well, because if there's a flat earther sponsor out there for one of my projects, I'm not going to, my podcast might have flat earther. So Jeremy, I respect, you might be, he might be right. So.
Do you really believe he's right?
I want to say two other things. One, the level of how naive I was during comedian. This is true. I believed that George Shapiro was managing me, or managers would manage you because they believed in your talent, not because there was any, I never thought about the monitor. Now, when I speak to my agents and managers, I think in my mind, how much money can I make them? Then they'll be more incentivized. So
right. You didn't think that at that time?
No, Howie, I didn't. That's what I'm saying. Don't you understand?
You thought he just liked,
yes,
George is actually a good guy.
Right.
He's a really good guy, but when business is business.
Right.
And humanity is humanity. And there is a blend of the two, but to have interest or to spend, I had this guy in yesterday, not on the podcast, but who was here? Doc McGee. Do you know who Doc McGee is? Doc McGee is the manager of Kiss and Bon Jovi and Hootie and the Blowfish. And he's like 76 years old and he's still on the road with them. And I said, what do you do? What do you do all day? And he said, QTR. And I said, what is that? And he said, quality time remaining. And that's how we should all live our life. Quality time remaining. If anybody's going to put, aside from talk about George specifically, who's an amazing family man, he was a husband, if you're going to go to work, and his work was managing young comics and managing their career and building the career, it's the quality of that time is like, how can I make money? Is this guy, and I could see when I sit here with you, I can see why anybody who would meet you would go, oh my God, you're worth a lot of money, Orny. You really are. You could really rise to the occasion and be a superstar. And I believe that you're on even a second run right now. And that's why I say reinventing yourself, because you were this journeyman comedian who was about to explode. I think we saw what happened in The Comedian. And now you're the guy from Teen Wolf who still is doing comedy specials. And, you know, I believe that you are on, as we talk to you here, you're on an upswing, you know, and every day people are still, you know, exploring and finding you. And I believe a lot of people who are listening and watching right now will go and look up specials they haven't seen. They'll watch episodes of Teen Wolf to go, oh my God, that's the guy. Or they'll go to that documentary and watch that.
It is fascinating because, and thank you, by the way, and I appreciate it because I do have such respect for you.
I respect you. I respect you for not giving up.
Yeah, I had no other option.
No, I think more people give up than keep going. Go ahead.
Did that experience change the way you view people and trusting people and how you view the world?
Absolutely.
So now
Was it soul crushing?
At times. You know, I saw a documentary about a golfer. I'm blanking on his name, and he blew two of the biggest tournaments of. I mean, he was up so much that there was no way he was going to blow the final round, and he did. And they asked him, and he said, "You know what? At this point, I'm over it. It doesn't affect me anymore." And I will say this: it will always be in my DNA and a part of me. I'll never get over it. And I don't trust people as much. I don't trust the business and situations. And but at the same time,
but that could be a positive, right?
At the same time, it made me acutely aware of who I am as a human being and how people perceive me. And it changed me in a way that I'm so grateful for, that I don't think I would ever have changed like that if there wasn't the impetus of this.
That's amazing.
In the end, so when you say, oh, you know, I'm at age 51, that there's still, you know, maybe the best is still ahead of me. I mean, don't you think in this business that's remarkable?
I do, but it's not unheard of. You know, you look at Rodney Dangerfield.
So funny. We were on stage the other night in Whitney Comics. I brought Whitney up on stage with this video. It's so funny. She had left something on the stage, and I said, "Get up here." And we were going to tell the story about being in Montreal together doing the Steve Martin Gala and what happened. And along the way, we just got derailed, and we sort of were semi-roasting each other and laughing and having a great time. And at the end, she said, just really beautiful sentiment. She said, you know, before I get off, a story about Orny Adams. Sometimes he's a brilliant comedian that I admire and I looked up to and still look up to in this business. And sometimes this business gets it wrong. And in this case it did. And he's our Rodney Dangerfield. And so it's so funny that you just said that.
But I think in the business getting it wrong, or the world getting it wrong, is what makes you the Rodney Dangerfield. It's what makes you, it gives you, you have to, you know, it's like, my analogy is more like boxing, but you got to get hit and you got to get knocked down in order to stand up and keep going. And those people that get knocked down and stand up are the people and are in it for the long haul. And the long haul hurts are the people that make it. Those people that get knocked down and go, oh shit, I can't take this. I'm out of this.
Yeah.
And that's a big, you know, there were so many people at the Comedy Store when I came out in the 70s and I was watching Richard Pryor. There's so many young comics of that day. I'm telling you, we're fucking brilliant. We're superstars. I mean, had the wherewithal, not the wherewithal, had the material and the psyche to be a superstar that got hurt like you, got hurt like I have in the past, and walked away because life wasn't worth it. The career wasn't worth it. They couldn't see through the fog of whatever negative was happening. And they're just not in the business anymore. Yeah. They're just not there. People give up. People who are musicians, you know, they have one hit record and then they can't get another hit and they stop writing and we never hear of them. The fact that you are sitting here today, the fact that you are not only sitting here today, but with amazing material, a great attitude, a hit show, a movie coming out, you know, specials that are being watched, and you didn't give up. Because to be honest with you, when I watched that show, when I watched The Comedian, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't know you at that time. And I went, oh, he fucked it up. He fucked it up. And not only that, this is gonna be a mirror for him to see how he fucked it up. Because I didn't know I had no concept of whether there was any other footage or whether the narrative wasn't exactly the way I was seeing it, because it kind of depicts itself that way. I'm never going to hear him again. I'm never going to see this kid again, ever again. And here I am, 20, 30, how many years? 20?
Yeah, 20. I mean, it came out in 20
years later.
Yeah.
Sitting here amazed by the career you're having, the career which I believe is on its way up and continues to be on its way up, and with things to promote. It's really exciting and kind of inspirational to anybody in any business. In anything, life is hard, and you're going to get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
And you got kicked in the nuts publicly.
Yeah.
And part of it, you kicked yourself in the nuts.
What did you find so objectionable? In that documentary that I was doing? What did you say? What was the moment where you said, "This guy's an idiot"? What was it?
To be totally honest with you, my thought was, you were this young kid who was taken by the hand. I would have done personally, I would have done anything George told me to do at that time. And you were kind of
did I don't recall that. Was there something
overthinking, you know, what you were going to do, the sets you were going to do, how you were going to do the set, saying no to things, saying to anything. I just would go listen. And by the same token, I am somebody who's afraid to say no. I say yes to absolutely everything. And I've made horrible mistakes by saying yes. I felt that my career was over 3 or 4 times over, not based on just some of the movies that I did. And in the midst of the movies, understanding that this is really a piece of shit and it's not going my way, and why, and then reading articles about Roseanne Barr, who was closer to what you were, in as far as holding a standard to who she believed she was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her sitcom went through the roof and had that kind of success, right? By the same token, you kind of acted the same way and it knocked you down. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, if you don't continue to take risks in this business, in this life, then it's boring. And I refuse to do that.
And it served you, but you have the wherewithal to.
But it's also not served me. So when you say, was this, in the end, when we go to heaven and the scorecard's there and it says comedian, is it going to be the positive or the negative? And I don't know. Because
we can't rely on our past, and we can't look to the future. Are you happy right now? Are you happy? Your career is good.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I am happy in the sense that, I just put one of my older specials, the last one, More Than Loud, which was on Showtime. My management finally convinced me. It took years to put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
I thought I was going to resell it. I thought I'd get it up on Netflix, package it with a new special. That didn't happen. And it's sort of taking off. And it's sort of introducing me to audiences and people that have never seen or heard me before. And they're like, why have I never heard of you? Which to me, I love.
So we'll put a link to it. What is it called?
More Than Loud.
Well,
More
now
Than
with
Loud.
social media,
Jeremy,
you don't
put a link.
necessarily need someone to buy it or a network to buy anything anymore.
Right.
You can be in charge of your own destiny and your own career, basically, because you could decide what to put up and what you like, and audience will either be attracted to it or not.
Right.
People like Andrew Schultz, he just did that special and Netflix wanted to edit it and do it a certain way.
Really?
Do you not know about this?
I don't know this. No.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I do. I
do.
do.
So he's blowing up huge. I mean, he's already big, but what he did was Netflix.
But see, if it didn't, you'd say Andrew Schultz, what an idiot. I knew at the time, right? You can, like, if comedian blew me up, you'd go back and rewrite in your head that this was the greatest thing that you ever did.
I'm not saying it isn't the greatest thing you ever did. I'm just saying, I'm asking you how you feel about it and what your perception of that. You
asked me if I'm happy. There are days, Howie, that I cannot believe that I make a living doing this, that I've achieved what I've achieved. I'm being honest. There are days that I can't believe you text me back. I can't. I'm serious. I can't believe that I can put a special up on YouTube and people can see it. I mean, I can't believe that I close the Improv in Los Angeles every weekend I'm in town, and they'll let me do it 12 weekends in a row. I can't believe it. It's only when I stop and I measure myself up against other people and what I feel like I could be that I get disappointed. But at the end,
But the point is, that's the problem. The problem is we have, and that's what social media does. We have a litmus test, a measure. Measuring is not good. You should not measure, because then it's I'm this and they're that. And the truth is, I know comedians, I won't mention names, but I know comedians that can sell out arenas all over the world. And I promise you, I can go up to 4 people on the street randomly that don't even know their name.
oh,
You know?
yeah.
So, you know, for me, the success is waking up and looking forward to do whatever you're going to do. And that's success. And in the realm of things, when you measure at the end, if you say, when we all get to heaven, nobody's going to talk about this show. Nobody's going to talk about this amount of ticket sales. Did you live that quality that you wanted to live? You know, I'm constantly now at this age, I'll see an old movie and they'll tell me, and I look it up, you know, I Google it and they'll go, that was the biggest star of his day. I don't know his fucking name.
Right.
You know?
Look at when Steve Jobs died. A month later, nobody cared, and everybody was maligning his name, and it was like, it's crazy. Like, when you're gone, you're gone. I want to ask you the same question.
What?
Are you happy, Howie Mandel?
I have a hard time being happy. And that's my struggle throughout my life. That's why I talk about mental health. Happiness eludes me. I try to distract myself. Doing this in this moment, sitting with my daughter, talking to a friend, talking to somebody I respect, at this particular second, I'm happy. But the problem is I feel like I'm balancing on a fence. And I constantly, you know, I need to be busy in order to be happy. Am I generally happy? My resting space is not happy.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's my mental health. It's like, why do you have a bad back? Why do you have a bad knee? I have bad. I have a very weak psyche. I do, and nothing in my life is there to make me comfortable. You know, as a germaphobe, as somebody with OCD, I've picked a very public,
Right.
you know, path.
Yeah.
I don't want to really touch or be around people.
I remember during, I think it was COVID, there was an article that came out that you were having trouble with this and by being alone so much. And I remember feeling for you as I do right now.
Well, I
when
say
you tell me this,
as a joke, like people say, I got COVID,
Yeah.
and the hardest part of COVID was not the symptoms. The hardest part of COVID was being locked away for 10 days, not being able to go to work, not being able to distract myself, not having really anybody to talk to outside on the phone or, you know, FaceTiming people or whatever. That was the hard. It sounds ridiculous. That's the hardest thing. And people will say, I live in a beautiful home. I was in a beautiful room. I had TV. I had whatever at my, you know, I had somebody who I'm lucky enough that, you know, lives at our house that cooked meals and left them by the door. I had a great meal.
Right.
I understand that I'm living in on paper, much easier life than 99% of the world. That being said, in my own head, I'm ravaged.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's. I'm sorry, and
No, you don't have to be sorry.
but, you know,
But we're all a work. We're all a work in progress.
and I remember I sent you a text.
Yep.
And I said, let's grab lunch. And that was my code for like, hey man, I love you.
Oh, thank
And
you. I love you too, buddy.
You're a buddy, and like, you know, I appreciate all the kind words and sentiment, and the fact that you invite me in. You know, I come in here and I'm just in awe of what you're doing and your spirit, and the fact that you have such drive. Just you know, because there are days where I go, you know what, I can lay back. I'm in the finals. I can lay back. I've done well enough that I don't probably have to worry. Knock on wood. And to see your drive, I admire and respect that.
My
and
drive is that of a hamster on a treadmill, because the truth is that listen, for all intents and purposes, I could lay back, but it'll be dark.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's interesting. Like, you can't, like, some days I just end the day by sitting in my backyard in a chair and just looking out and seeing, you know, the trees and being just so content and having silence. And I think silence is your enemy.
It really is.
All right, I'm excited. We're talking about Shady Rays.
Yeah, we're both wearing our Shady Rays. Rays.
Rays.
Shady Rays.
How cool are they? Aren't they cool?
They're really cool. You know what I love about them?
Huh.
They're not expensive, but they look expensive, right? So they're a great gift for a loved one or for yourself. And they have this insane protection plan. You know about that?
I do know about it. And it transfers to anyone that you give it to, too.
Right.
So it's awesome because even if you lose it, you drop it, you break it, whatever it is, you can return it or exchange them.
You come.
Are you going to? No, stop. No, why would you do that?
No, because I'm going to show you. I'm going to return.
But why would you do that?
No, maybe you're right. I shouldn't have done that.
Dad.
No, I shouldn't have done that. Okay.
Aww.
No, but I can
Okay.
return these.
Well, even with
I
that strong of protection program, they still managed to make quality that I can tell you by holding in my hand seems just as good as any expensive pair that I have ever worn. Yeah. People love Shady Rays. Customers seem to agree with over 200,000 five-star reviews. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have
So I'm going to place another order, and I'm going to feed more people.
and have donated over 20 million meals to date. You can't even break them. You're trying to break
these
them
are
and you
really
can't even
strong.
break
You can't
them.
break them.
You can't.
They're unbreakable. Oh, look, they are. These are made amazingly. I can't even break them. These are good. Look, I can even put them back to the way they were. Look at this, and you won't notice the difference.
Well, guess what? They have free returns and exchanges.
But you know what?
You either love the Shady Rays or they'll pay to ship them
Boom!
back for you.
Boom!
Wait.
I know.
Whoa.
I know.
No way.
Yes way. Hello, Shady Rays.
Okay.
You can't even ruin them.
Okay. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is
These are
running
the strongest glasses I've ever heard of.
their deepest deal of the season. Use code Howie for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades. Yeah.
Couldn't break them. I couldn't break them.
That's so funny, the dichotomy of what you just said. You said like comparing yourself to other people brings you misery, and then you said also comparing yourself gives you drive to push and go harder.
Did I say that about the drive?
I think so, unless I
I don't know if I did,
misinterpreted
but
what
it-
you were
it-
saying.
Well, I mean, it is for sure. But I'll never. There is no chance I will achieve what
Why?
your father has achieved.
Why?
Why?
Why are you saying that?
I mean, just look at your collectibles. Even if I started now, I can't catch up. I can't catch up. Even to this wall
You
over
can.
here,
Just-
I can't catch up to. I can't.
You can, but
Uh-huh.
but you're saying you can't, so you won't. Can't is I won't.
He's
No.
one step away from
Can't is I
hoarders.
can't is I tried. I tried hard. You know.
No, can't is I won't. As long as you're here, you can. It's when you won't. And that's where you got up from the comedian, you get up from whatever it is where you're trying to sell a special, and then you end up putting it on another platform. At my age, I'm about to be 67 years old. I'm not any different than anybody else, but I want to do things that, a lot of people, would probably do when they're younger. And then they want to be able, I would love to be able to have the psyche where I can relax.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Do you think if you had that psyche that could relax and you didn't have this fear of being alone or silence, do you think you would have gone as far as you've gone in this business?
No, I think I told you, I'm the hamster on the treadmill. I got to keep that treadmill going. That keeps the light on, and the light being the lightness in my life.
And so I guarantee in a minute, you would trade your wall of tchotchkes, your success, this hangar, everything, wherever we are, for the peace of mind that other people have.
Success for me, people go, what do you have to do to be successful? And, the first time on a dare that I got up on stage in April 1977 in Toronto, and people kind of accepted me and laughed at me, that was success. I found something I was looking forward to, and I felt happy that I found something, even if it was 2-3 times a week, if I could be a waiter. I wasn't chasing the Tonight Show. I wasn't chasing notoriety or fame. I wasn't really chasing money. So if I could be happy is the goal. Happy is the currency. If I can do that, yeah, I would. Right now, doing this and chasing these things, and this is just the shit that blows off of it. I'm talking about the things, 90% of these things are things that have been, he's looking at a shelf of shit of where it's over, I've been canceled, or old jobs I've had.
Yeah.
I just don't throw shit away is what that is. It's not.
We should go on Pawn Stars and just sell all this stuff. Is what we should do.
I
My
mean,
wife-
some
my
of it
wife
is
would
just
love you.
bullshit too. You have a human organ transplant flag. That's just my kids, I think, got it for him at Big Bear.
Can
It's
I ask-
meaningless.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is it hard to hear your dad talk about what you described as mental illness? Does that, I saw this visceral sort of reaction in your eye, like,
Well, I actually suffer from the same mental illness that he does. So it's hard because I know how he feels a lot of the time. And I feel bad that he feels that. And
But
I
she feels it.
understand it. But
It's genetic. She
yeah.
has it too.
yeah.
You know, it isn't. Think of your psyche as an organ. You know, if you said you're resting your knee. What's wrong with your knee?
Did I say I was?
Oh no, you said you're in town healing your
Yeah,
knee.
I had surgery. Do you want to switch off of this? We can switch.
No,
off this
no,
subject.
no. I wasn't trying to.
Okay.
But I'm saying it's the same thing. Why did
Right.
you have surgery on your knee?
It's sort of embarrassing. Because it sounds like a humble brag, but when we were filming Teen Wolf, there was a stunt.
You did a stunt.
I did I wouldn't call it a stunt, but
What did you do?
I had to run. I'm a lacrosse coach. I had to run down the lacrosse field
Mhm.
and slide on my knees after a big goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was AstroTurf, which underneath is pavement, and it's like fake grass. And when I went to slide,
Mm-hmm.
my knee stopped and my fat upper torso kept going, and I heard pop.
that is a humble brag right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I
Right.
heard that, I'm like, wow.
But here's the best part. Here's the best part. I've tried to tell this on stage, and I can't get it to work because the setup is so long. So Paramount, the studio, immediately took responsibility. They looked at the tape, and they put me on workman's comp. And they did an MRI, and they sent me to a doctor here. Great doctor. He's the for the hockey team, the LA, whatever they're called. Kings, is that their?
Yeah.
So he's the doctor for them. So he said, you tore your ACL. We're probably gonna have to do surgery. Let's rehab it a little bit. Let's see where it goes. I go back 6 weeks later, and he said, and I said, let's do the surgery. And I said, what's the process? And I have an advocate. Because this is workman's comp, I have a nurse, a full-time nurse that works on my case. She travels with me to all the appointments. Like, it's cool. And she takes notes. And so he said, we're just going to go in and we're just going to repair the meniscus. And I said, what about the ACL? He said, the ACL's fine. I said, no, in the first appointment, you said I tore my ACL. And I looked at the court reporter, the nurse. I go, here we go. Right? I'm
Right.
checking the third base. Did he check swing? Is this a strike and he's out? And she looked at the notes and she said, no. He said, you tore your meniscus. And I said, I'm starting to think all these women that say I don't listen might have a point. I don't think I listen. Like, at least 60% of the women I date say, you don't listen. And it might be more, might be 100%. Maybe I didn't listen to the other 40% saying it.
This is a long way around to what I was saying, but the way you hurt your knee.
Yes.
And the way your knee has to be rehabbed. And that's a great bit. You can't get it to work. It works.
It's a lot of silence getting it. You know, it's the setup.
You know what it probably is? You're probably playing in front of a female audience and they're not listening.
Yeah. No, a male audience
Yeah,
that's
right.
not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. The women listen. They're right there. They can, they're
Wait,
natural.
before you get back to your point, was it the ACL or the meniscus?
It was the meniscus. They repaired it. And now I am.
And you really didn't listen.
I heard ACL, and when you tell people you tore your ACL, that's a banner injury. People, I'll drive you anywhere. I'll cook for you. Oh my God, people they listen. And then I said, it turns out it's my meniscus. Where are you going? Nobody wants to cook for you. Now neighbors are just dropping off corn. That's all I get. Corn on the cob. ACL, full meals were showing up. Full meals.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. I'm just saying, like that.
Yes.
Like that, your meniscus is my psyche.
And Howie, I understand this. And I didn't understand this 10 years, 20, 30 years ago. And that's what I love about this, the awareness of, and I have trouble saying mental illness. I really.
Well, I don't like when people say mental. She says it. I say mental health.
Mental health.
Mental health. Because it's not.
Did I say mental illness?
Yes. I'm
Oh.
also mentally ill, you said.
Well, I don't know. I said that? That's
Yeah,
what I
I
said?
listened.
Okay.
Yeah, because I now have had enough people in my life that suffer, and I do get it, and I do get that because I was dating somebody once, and I was reading about it to sort of try and relate, and they'd say tomorrow's going to be a better day, and that doesn't work. Like I've had days where I'm really bummed out.
Does it bother you on a date? You said you were dating somebody who kept saying tomorrow's going to be a better day.
No, I said
not-
it.
oh.
I said it to her because she was down.
Oh, okay.
And I said, tomorrow's going to be a better day. And we all have really bad days. And I think if I had a lot of these, man, I don't know what I would do. And I would think in my head, well, tomorrow's going to be a better day. Well, it doesn't work. To get to tomorrow, that's far away.
Yeah, the key is trying to live in the now, which is really hard because the now is hard because you're concerned about it. Right now, you either are thinking about what could happen, and that's what we do career-wise. That's what we do in our life. You go, I better do this because you know what could happen. This could happen. Or you rest on what did happen, and you just don't want that to happen again.
Right.
You know what I mean? This did happen. Everybody lives either in the past or the future, and then we realize, we're always missing the now. We are always missing the now. As you get to, I'm 67 years old now, and I spent most of my life going, I can't wait till the show comes on. I can't wait till I get this, or I got to get the Tonight Show, or I'm going to do this. I was always like fighting for the future instead of enjoying that,
But I think that's a beautiful aphorism, but you can't always live in the now. You just can't.
We're not built for that, but we should.
No,
right
you
now
would
I'm
die.
sitting in a room. You would die?
Yes, you would die.
Why?
Because you have to.
You're so positive.
You have to. You have to live in the past. You have to.
No.
Yes, you do.
Learn from your mistakes.
This entire podcast has been about my past.
Yeah.
Should I just have come on and go, Howie? You know what? Love to talk to you about comedian. I'm sure it'd be riveting for your listeners, but I'm in the now.
Yeah,
right
easy
now.
for you to say, Dad.
Yeah.
You've been asking
I'm
him
in
about
the
his past
now.
for an hour.
Yeah.
And
I'm
you know
in
what's weird? This podcast isn't even live,
Yeah.
so people are listening to it.
Yeah.
We recorded it in the past.
Yeah.
Right. So your now is not our now.
Yeah.
Okay, listeners? Here's the other thing. This podcast started off really poorly for me. And I go, this Howie Mandel is out playing me on chess, and I'm gonna have to turn it.
And you
did. I did.
You did.
I did because
You won.
I go,
You won.
Can I tell you why?
Can I tell
No,
you
no,
one
no,
thing?
no.
What?
Sorry, okay,
Let me
go
think
ahead.
of this.
Okay.
You won. How do you spell one?
I
W-O-N, which is the opposite backwards of
now.
ta-da.
See, but Howie, here's the problem with your podcast. When we're out there, you're this nice, jovial, sweet guy encouraging me, and then you come in here and it's a different Howie. It's a different Howie.
What am I here?
I don't know. You're just like, I don't know. It's very sort of, and you're very controlling, and you're smart.
You don't like this, Howie?
No, I turned it. Thank God.
I didn't like it either growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't blame
Wait a
you.
minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is not good for my mental health. Wait, am I different on this podcast?
No, because I know, like, you're so bubbly and happy I saw you when you were out there. Look at this and look at
Yeah.
this and blah, blah, blah. And then you come in here and you're like, let's talk. Let's talk about what happened in the past.
Holy
Did I fuck you over? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you did. You did. And to
Are
be
you
honest
pissed
with
off?
you,
I'm sorry.
let's move the podcast out there.
Yeah.
That is what I think. The energy out there is great.
I didn't mean to. Did I fuck you over?
To me, listen, your comedians are very smart. And I just did a very high profile podcast. And
You can mention names.
I did Mark Maron's podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
Not like yours.
And I went in not knowing what to expect. Because
Right, because what he's saying is he's done a high profile podcast and then he slipped down to this.
yeah.
that
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what you said.
Do you think
that's how
maybe-
I took it?
Well, maybe if you didn't attack your guests, you'd have a higher
What you're saying is
profile
you're no
podcast.
fucking Mark Maron. Yeah. Okay, no, I
No,
get it.
hey, listen, I'll let you know what my numbers are on my podcast and my videos. After this, I'll see what the bump is.
Yeah.
But, Mark is a guy, you and I are friends.
Right.
Mark and I don't even have Mark's number.
Right.
Mark is a guy that has attacked me, and we've sort of had conflict our entire
Well,
careers.
he's high profile, not like me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So,
What's your point?
the point is, when you were out there, you were so sweet and tender. I go, this is going to be a blast. And then we come in here and go, what? I didn't tell you about my daughter? What do you mean I didn't tell? I'm like, oh my God, I'm just trying to say some
Wait a
sides
minute.
and everything.
No, did I fucking attack? Did I
No, it
attack?
just felt, can you?
Can I tell you something though?
Yes.
He's gonna after this podcast now.
Oh,
this
no.
is all he's going to be
Oh,
thinking
no.
about.
Was I
He's
bad? Was it bad?
He's gonna message you 100
Was this a
times.
bad experience?
No,
Did it
this
start
is-
off bad?
Yes.
Oh shit.
But Rich, I'm looking at the third base coach. What is it? He's
Was
going
this
out.
bad?
He's going out. It's a yes, thank you. I would edit out the beginning. I'd go right out of the corn bit. Let the listeners go, why does he keep talking about having corn for dinner? Like,
What did I do wrong? I want to learn.
You
I
did-
want to be the next Mark Maron.
he didn't do anything wrong.
No, what did I do? That was uncomfortable.
It just felt, when I sat down, it was, maybe do what Letterman did. Don't see the guest before the show.
So it's not a shock.
Yeah.
It's not like
did
a
I
bait
shock
and
you?
switch.
It felt like a switch. Am I allowed to say this? Is
Yeah.
this
No,
horrible?
this is.
Is this comedian 2 now? Am I?
No, but it's I'm the comedian now.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would come out like this. I thought you would support me.
Maybe
in my podcast. I thought you were a friend. I had no idea that you would attack me.
I'm not-
on my own podcast.
No, I'm not attacking you.
No, you're saying it didn't go well, and you're saying you did a high-profile podcast, and now you're settling on this.
No, that is not what I said.
That's exactly what you
Why
said.
would I go backwards? I'm doing a higher profile
It's
podcast.
like skiing.
No.
You go to the top of the hill.
Oh,
and then
here we
you
are,
ski
Mount
down.
Everest again.
Yes.
Let me tell you what really happened, Howie. I saw the producer give the wrap it up, and I go, no way can we
Wait.
wrap it up now. There's no way that
Did he
Howie...
make a signal?
No, I go, I don't want Howie to
No.
be... I don't
No,
want Howie
you're lying.
I don't want Howie to be alone with his thoughts out there. I'm going to continue this on. I'm going to get controversial.
I don't know if it's controversial, but it was just like I feel bad. I'm
What
being
is the
honest
peanut
with
gallery? Do you think the beginning of the podcast was a little bit... What?
Who are you asking? A guy who believes the Earth
Whoa.
is flat?
No.
He's
And
saying
then
it's a switch. Ask Rich.
Rich.
Rich,
Mm.
Rich knows about your
Uh-oh.
friendly side.
Everybody's good.
I thought it was fascinating because I, like how I find you amazing, hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
And I did watch it too, and I knew you were misrepresented. With people, it happens all the time.
Oh, we're not talking about comedian. We're talking about
Yeah.
the beginning.
We're talking about this podcast.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. That I have misrepresented
He's
you.
in the wrong now.
Yes.
thought you were
He's at a
saying
different now.
I liked the Oprah. I thought it was fun. I liked it.
Okay, that's
No,
right.
but you felt that it was like.
Oh my
what-
God.
No, Howie, you're misinterpreting.
I don't want to hurt
it.
you. I love you. I
Yes.
don't, and I have from before for years.
No, you
And I
hated
will
me in the
always support.
documentary,
I would
found out.
always support you.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by that documentary. I've never publicly talked about the documentary face to face with you. It isn't something that's bubbly and sweet and nice. And I thought I would open with it. And I also think that, listen, we all go on other people's podcasts. You go on really high profile ones, and then you go on low profile ones to find, you can get my 35 listeners.
Okay. I've got to clear everything up here.
Go ahead.
Before this becomes, and even your posture has changed. You're now like leaning in. You're like ready to
I'm
jump
not
over
leaning
the table.
in. I'm in. This is good posture. It's not leaning in. Staples gave me free chairs, and this
I
posture
wish-
is about Staples Canada's new chairs.
I wish Staples would send me some chairs. My office chair just broke. I just lost. Do you know what Eames is? I have an Eames chair, and I was sitting it in the other day. It's a lounge chair, and the back I flipped off of it and broke the entire chair.
Would never happen with a Staples chair.
I love
Staples Canada.
Staples. You know what I love about Staples?
Uh-huh.
If anywhere on this flat earth you need office supplies, Staples.
Canada.
Oh, Staples Canada?
I'm the spokesperson for Staples Canada.
Specifically Canada.
Here's the problem. When they ship that stuff, the duty, it's a pain in the ass. But here's what I'm talking about with the beginning.
Okay.
I have no problem discussing comedian. I have no problem with you not liking me in comedian. I have no problem with any of that. I guess I was taken aback. There was hey, our guest today is Orny Adams, and we're excited to have Orny. And blah, 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 blah. We'll go back and tape this now. And the flat earther will edit all this perfectly. But what I was actually giving you a nod of respect that you are so good at controlling a situation that I allowed it. And at one point I said, it's time to make the switch. So I just want you to know, I was playing a little rope-a-dope over here. I was letting you punch yourself out. And now now it's like, oh no, is Orny out? Is he out? This Howie Mandel has a lot of body shots. And then all of a sudden,
This is very calculated.
I don't know. Apparently he won.
You won
no,
again.
I didn't.
You won.
I think you did.
I didn't want
I think you won.
Howie.
I think you won. What should people, so they should go to that. We're going to put the link to
Yes.
your YouTube special.
Yeah.
And what else? And ornyadams.com. Should we
Yeah.
go-
At Orny Adams on all social media, and you're very active too. I see your
Right.
stuff all the time.
And
Yeah.
your podcast.
You
And your podcast.
yes. Yes.
And also you can hear him on if you've enjoyed this, he's also on much higher profile
No.
podcasts than this.
What?
But this is a nice little warm up to listen to the big podcasts.
For the record, I reached out to you to be on this. I wanted to be on this.
Right. We don't have Booker. We don't have we're low profile.
You know how
not-
he gets his you know how he gets his guests? I'm not joking.
Yeah.
He'll be out in public. We'll be having lunch or dinner
Yeah.
somewhere, and he's like, "Oh, look, there's so and so," and runs up to them and says, "Hey, do you want to be on my podcast?" So it's probably just because he hasn't seen you out.
Yeah,
and
if I
about.
haven't seen you,
Yeah.
I bumped into. In fact, on the next episode, we have the hostess from Neil's Dining Lounge.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I upset you, Howie, and I didn't mean to.
I'm not upset.
Okay.
I live upset. That's my
No,
resting
but
face.
what you have to
I
understand.
feel bad. I want to end
These are
this,
like
but I
two
want to end
people
on
that-
enough note.
that are
It's
so
getting just so
concerned.
fucking neurotic.
It's two people that are so concerned with how each other feel about one another.
I'm happy. I'm not, well.
No, but-
I'm as happy as I can be. But I'm happy.
Yeah, I just want to.
Are you happy?
Yes, but I just want.
Did you have a good time?
I had a great time, but I want
know.
I want to be clear that I don't think that you attacked me at the beginning. I felt
I
it
don't
was
think I
awkward.
attacked you. I don't think I attacked
Okay,
you.
I know you
thought I
didn't.
was. I sometimes I'm not aware of how I sound. My wife will go, "Why are you mad?" And I go, "I'm not mad."
Yeah.
All the time. Why are you yelling? I go, "I'm not yelling." I'm not really aware of how I sound and what I do. I'm just this lump of flesh that screams sometimes. That's all I am.
Yeah.
And people find it funny from time to time, and they put me on television. And when I'm not on television and I'm not performing stand-up comedy, my daughter will bring this lump of flesh into this room with a microphone, and I get to talk to friends.
Yeah.
Not high profile. It's not high profile.
What happened to this is that's the trigger? That's the thing that this is very high profile for me. I
Really?
could barely sleep last night. I was anxious about it.
Do you know we're number 35 in Croatia? And that's not a joke.
Is that true?
Is that true?
25.
Is that true?
25.
Well, going to be 15 after this one.
Yeah.
In Croatia, we are number 25. So we moved up. We were 35, were we
Wasn't
not?
it also Trinidad?
Where else?
25th in Croatia, 25th in Trinidad, 32nd in Lebanon.
We have a sign up. You know that there's a sign up
Yeah.
there so
We're-
that they
we're
never
climbing the
forget.
ladder.
Yeah. Not here.
Not
in
here
the other
for
room.
the.
Oh, the
crew.
motivation?
That's motivation.
Yeah.
Yes. We're hoping one day to be in the top 20 in
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
It really is.
I know.
Is it all video or do we put the audio out somewhere too?
Oh, we should put the audio out.
We do. We have audio.
That's a
everywhere.
good idea.
We-
Thank God we have you. We have a podcast. We haven't been broadcasting
Okay, am I
audio.
being attacked now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
This is exact. Okay, you know what? Open the show with that clip. Okay, just mix it around. Let's do our own documentary, and we'll make Howie look horrible. And people go, Howie, you did attack him at the beginning of the podcast.
I
He
didn't
said we
attack
should-"
you.
No,
I did
you
not.
didn't.
I did not
I'm
attack
giving
you.
you an example
I
of
did not
editing.
attack you.
I know you didn't.
There will
but
be
what
no
I'm-
editing. I'm not editing.
He's
You
missing
attacked
my
me. This is
point.
the first time I've ever been attacked on this show.
I'm saying if
in front of my daughter, no less.
I'm saying if Harvey Weinstein
Play the theme.
If Harvey Weinstein edited this podcast, he would take that clip, put it at the beginning, so the audience would go, he did attack him. That's what I'm saying.
Perfect.
Do you hear something in your ears?